So two Secret Service agents were fighting, scrapping, if you will, at 2:30 in the morning outside of former President Barack Obama's house. You can't make this stuff up. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, hit the notification button. So every time I drop a video, you will be the first to know about it. Let's hit it.
A Secret Service spokesperson confirming to NBC News what they're calling an altercation between two active duty officers outside the home of former President Obama here in D.C. I want to show you a video. These are the two officers, like in a fight. We should be clear, NBC News does not have ownership of this video. The Secret Service says both officers involved are on suspension.
Now, when you look at this, let me see if I can. So you really can't see it because it's pretty blurry. But you got two officers, service officers, which means they have weapons. Can you imagine? Just think about it. And when I first saw the story, I did not know that there was like somebody there like breaking them up because it did seem kind of weird that it looked like they was fighting, but then one of them just walked off and kept going backwards. But I see there was somebody too that was there to break up the fight. But do you see how close they were? How bad it could have gotten because they both have weapons. See, this goes to the point that guns don't kill people. People kill people because because there's emotionally charged that this altercation was or could have been. Can you imagine being some of these cats out here on the streets? They get mad at each other, want to fight, want to get into it, and you can see these videos where instead of like fighting each other, they pulling out AR-15s, AK-47s, and unloading the clip on somebody, inside of a car. Somebody that's helpless or whatever. But regardless, that's what they do out there on them streets. But these people, but this is what I believe training, understanding gun safety, understanding what the repercussions of using guns can do. So I would give them credit for holding that much restraint.
Video. The Secret Service says both officers involved are on suspension. NBC News reached out to the
Hold on, let's read this statement for real. It said U.S. Secret Service is aware of an on-duty altercation that occurred between the two uniformed division officers at approximately 2:30 a.m. on May 21st. The individuals involved were suspended from duty, and this matter is the subject of an internal investigation.
News reached out to the Obama's office. They are declining to comment. I want to go right to Vaughn Hilliard now here.
First, I was wondering if they was fighting over Obama. Women love some Obama, man. And then Michelle out here doing these podcasts, flirting with dudes and talking about if she was single, she would talk to this CEO guy and talking about she's at, now she's about her purpose, empty house and all this kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe Obama was waiting on old girl to get off and this is her over here cock blocking.
Beyond the fact that you have two apparently active duty officers in a fight while there's, I think, supposed to be on duty. Do we know why it happened? And do we know anything else about this? As the Secret Service has previously, over the course of the last several years, faced some questions about the behavior of folks who work for the agency.
Of course, we're trying to nail down some of these details. We know that it happened at 2:30 in the morning last week. There were these two female officers that were serving through the Secret Service outside of the Washington, D.C. home of the Obamas. That is where this altercation that you were watching took place. Of course, the Secret Service has come under great scrutiny in recent years.
And think about this. Think about if somebody had some kind of ill-willed ideas toward Barack Obama and wanted to do something to him. Just think about if they would have saw something like this and this never got out or discipline was never handed out and these same officers were still on duty, taking care of or watching the president. This would be a sign of weakness. This would be the link in the chain that someone with bad intentions would look for in order to attack. Because think about it. You got basically three officers here. And they are occupied. They not at this moment and whenever this while this is going on, they are occupied. Nobody is watching this side of Barack Obama's house. So anybody with any kind of, like I say, bad intentions could strike at this point because this is a break in the system. Regardless if I sound chauvinist or whatever or not, this is like one of the reasons why I don't like the idea of women being on the front lines of any kind of battle or protection or security. I just don't. It just doesn't make sense to me. One, women are very emotional, just like immature men are emotional. But 100% women are can get very emotional over the smallest things, and I don't need emotional decisions made in a life and death situation. Can't have it. You got to make a decision, got to make an executive decision that you feel is the best decision at the time. It may not turn out right. It may turn out right, but you do what you feel needs to be done, not because of emotions, but because of the circumstances laid out in front of you.
So, of course, paramount to that was last year in the assassination attempt on the life of then candidate Donald Trump. This is a moment in time for the Secret Service where they have ramped up their recruiting efforts. If you go around Washington, D.C., you'll see billboards trying to onboard individuals to join the service. This is now a Secret Service that is led by Sean Curran, who used to lead the detail for then candidate Donald Trump over the last 2 years. And so this is, again, kind of bringing the secret.
I hope y'all watching this. I hope y'all just watching the replay of this brawl on the left side of the screen.
Service into greater focus here. There are a lot of unanswered questions about exactly what prompted this altercation and what ultimately took place. But the Secret Service is confirming that this did take place between two Secret Service officers, Hallie. They are both on leave at this time.
Vaughn Hilliard, thanks for bringing us that developing news. We're going to keep an eye on that. Thanks.
So let's get to an article that actually tells you why this happens. This is from totalsports.com by way of newsbreak.com. And it reads, shocking video leaks of two female Secret Service agents fighting each other outside Barack Obama's home. And this is like a few days ago. It says a tense standoff between two female Secret Service agents turned physical outside former President Barack Obama's Washington, D.C. residence, in the early hours of the morning. The officers, both members of the agency's uniform division, again, they have weapons, reportedly clashed around 2:30 a.m. over frustrations tied to shift scheduling. This is something that I've seen far too often, but let's continue. What started as a disagreement quickly spiraled. One officer, angry that her replacement had arrived late, called her supervisor over a recorded line and warned that she needed help. Quote, immediately before I whooped this girl's buttocks, according to reports. What it say? The heated remark underscored the emotional strain behind the early morning incident, which, despite its intensity, did not disturb the Obama household or the surrounding neighborhoods. Let me tell y'all something. I work in nursing. Specifically, I work in a nursing home from time to time, like PRN, as needed. I don't want a little extra money, you know what I'm saying, to buy something or to pay something off. But anyway, work at a nursing home. And one of the main things I see now, I haven't worked in a hospital since I was a patient caretaker, so I'm not really sure how it works now. But I know at the hospital, when people be late, a bunch of times, you actually get write-ups like fairly quick. The hospitals don't play that tardy stuff. But nursing homes, they're a little more lax no matter where you go, especially down here. I don't know about the other parts of the country, but here in the Dallas area, yeah, it's lax, especially on weekends when it comes to shift change. And what I mean by that is if a shift started 6 or it started 7, a lot of times nurses and aides and maintenance and whoever else, housekeeping for sure, not really sure about maintenance, they'll just show up whenever they feel like it. Well, don't say it like that. let's say if the shift started 6, they may come like 6:15, 6:30, 6:45. And there's many times I done came out and went to work, and I get there early, and 9 times out of 9, it's the women, it's a female who don't come in on time. And I mean, like I say, aides and nurses alike. A lot of times I go in and it's 6 o'clock. I mean, I get there early, and then about 6:15 hit, you know, they're all the aides haven't showed up. By 6:30, now if they ain't showed up, now I'm calling to see where they're at. And in the beginning, at 6 o'clock, if nobody there, I'm calling on-call phone saying, "Hey, have you heard from so and so?" Because nobody's there. And then they'll say, "Oh, I'll reach out," and then they'll go back. They'll come back and say that, "Oh, they say they'll be there on their way." Okay, fine. So they're late. Then come back again. The next time I come back, same thing. I reach out the on-call phone, tell me the same thing. After a while, I come figuring out that this is like the norm, that these folks come in late. And on the reverse side, you have nurses waiting, or you have and you have aides that are waiting, because protocol policy states that you can't leave until the next shift comes on, because you got to round with them. And what this do, this upsets the person that's been working and who's trying to leave. Now, the person that coming in, to me, I feel is like you just you don't care about nobody else but yourself. To me, I feel like it's selfish. But then you have aides be like, man, they be gone. They're like, man, I'm leaving. I gotta go. Because you gotta think about it. A lot of times they're young ladies or they're women. These women may have kids or other obligations they got to deal with. Now, let's just make it clear that when you get hired, there are requirements that you have to abide by. Okay. And one of them is being on time. One of them, and also they want you to leave on time. So everybody has to play the role. The person coming in and the person going off. Everybody has to play the role. That just like you want to be able to leave, and you want your relief to come in on time so that way you can leave, you got to do the same thing for the other person. But you got people who don't think like that. So tension builds up. This situation here, this is not, most likely, I'm willing to bet, not the first time that they had this problem. Because for somebody to say, I'm going to whoop this, they're going to whoop somebody over this, which means that if this is about 2:30, that means that when the relief came in, they got into it. You know what I'm saying? Words were spoken about the other officer coming in late. So they going back and forth, talking crazy. So this one here talking crazy, calling her supervisor saying, hey, somebody need to come here before, something bad happened. And most likely the supervisor wasn't too far from where they was at, because they made it there before hands were thrown. Because hands were thrown, as you saw, hands were thrown, and the supervisor, whoever broke them up. If that survived, might have been somebody on a different post. I hope it was somebody on a different post, because now you don't, what I'm saying? Now you have another post that's open, and that's making Barack Obama more vulnerable. See what I'm saying? And that's the thing that you don't want to happen. So just like in nursing, when nurse doesn't show up and the other nurse has to wait for that nurse to get there. Now, if they call and say, I ain't gonna be able to make it, I'm running late, I'm gonna be sick, that's one thing. But if you're always running late, just to be running late, yeah, that pisses people off, because people got things to do. People might got kids, got to pick them up from school, daycare, the babysitter, whatever, and they gotta, and everything is timed out according to what the rules are. But you got somebody else who does not care about those rules and don't care about your life, which they shouldn't. They don't have to, technically. So, but you need to respect the rules of the game. And if there's no punishment handed out when these occurrences happen, this is what it'll boil up to. It'll boil into somebody ready to fight, which rarely hears something like this with guys, because most of the time we're on time, especially when we're about business. Let's see. Sources familiar with the situation confirmed that both women were on duty outside Obama's home when the dispute unfolded. The next shift arrived late, which made one officer upset about waiting past her scheduled time. And I mean, it happens. I mean, if you might think one time ain't too bad, but like I said, my belief is that this has happened a number of times, and she's got fed up with it. As tempers flared, the situation moved from verbal tension to a physical brawl, sparking new concerns over conduct within the Secret Service. According to Real Clear Politics report Susan Crabtree, it remains unclear whether each agent suffered injuries or if disciplinary action has followed. It really should. 'Cause like I said, you got to nip it in the butt early. The agency has launched an internal review, part of its standard disciplinary protocol, but has not issued any public comment regarding the outcome. This is the latest episode. This latest episode isn't the first time the Secret Service's uniform division has faced scrutiny. Last year, according to Slay News, an altercation involving Officer Michelle Herzog and former Vice President Kamala Harris's security detail brought similar issues to light. Like that's another female. These recurring problems have sparked broader discussion within the agency about discipline, professionalism, and the mental and emotional pressure agents face on the job. Now, a lot of us, like first responders, a lot of it is we face pressure on the job, stress, mental stress. It happens. This is why, like even myself, I've always been the person who really never really took a vacation unless it was time to take vacation. I might take a day off here and there, whatever, just to chill. But as in like taking days off, going somewhere out of town, relaxing, I don't do that much. And my days, I stack hours, 200 hours, 200 something hours of vacation time and rarely use it. But now as I've gotten older and actually realized the importance of mental breaks and getting away from the job and sitting back and looking at life, I take more of it. I take more time off now. Take more time off throughout the year because you need it, because it is stressful. You have to have a getaway, even if you need some kind of counseling. I don't know how they train the Secret Service, but I can tell you, like now with nursing training, is different. Because when I started, I had to work like for a full year on the floor, working in bays before I was deemed charge nurse worthy to where I can run a clinic. But now especially since COVID, things are done differently, and they kind of require less time on the floor, if at all on the floor, for nurses to work behind the desk. I think they still got to wait some time before they can be charged nurse and like run the clinic by themselves, but they don't have to do what I had to do. And we just talking like maybe 7-8 years ago. And things have changed, but I don't know if that's what it's like with the Secret Service, if they change like requirements, because I mean, there's a shortage of nurses all over. So everywhere training is different when it comes to nursing within the past 10 years. Says to address ongoing internal concerns, President Donald Trump appointed Sean Curran as the new director earlier this year. Curran now faces a daunting task: restoring trust and stability inside the division, increasingly marred by high-profile incidents. As agents and leadership examine the fallout, many within the service call for clearer expectations and better support structures to prevent future breakdowns. The review's outcome could help set the tone for how the agency handles similar issues moving forward. For now, the spotlight remains on the Secret Service, where questions of accountability, conduct, and culture continue to demand answers. So yeah, like I say, here's the thing. People might not see it this way, but again, I myself feel like these are not jobs for women. Women can have jobs, but like I say, it's just something. If a job is too stressful, women either need more time off or they need more frequent training compared to dude. In nursing, I have seen women go back and forth with each other while on the clock at work more often than I've seen guys do. There are guys that I have not agreed with. We have disagreements about things. We have bumped heads over things at work, but we have never, ever acted a fool while on the clock in front of patients or in front of other people. We may talk about it. We may go somewhere and talk it out, discuss it off the clock, off the floor. But while we sitting there working, You're not gonna do it. At least I'm not gonna do it. Because what you're not gonna do is mess up my money. You're not gonna mess up my money, my livelihood, the way I take care of myself and my family. Not gonna do it. Not right there. Now, if we want to do, we can go talk about it and deal with it later. And we can handle it like grown men, but I've seen all too often uh women get into it with staff, women get into it with patients in the building. And then you have to calm them down, walk them out, write them up. Got to do it, and it just doesn't make sense. Too many emotions. They be like, "Oh, I'm stressed out." This and that. Hell, we had females leave, take leave of absence for mental health breaks. Like, never heard nothing like that. But it just, it's just, I guess it's what they need and what they get. But I feel they should do something just a little less stressful, like I say. But like I said, again, I will commend them for not pulling them weapons out. And they had guns on them. So that is a lesson that everybody can learn, that you have to know how to have some form of conflict resolution at all costs. Because just because you got weapons on your hip don't mean you got to pull them out and use them. But let's get some men out there protecting the president in a way. Because shoot, if it came down to a hand-to-hand combat battle, I don't know if they can handle it anyway. But anyway, tell me what you think about this story. Leave your comments below. Share it with the world. Let's have an intelligent conversation. You know how we do around here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Those 4 things cost you maybe a couple of minutes out your day, but it means everything to us here. Now, if you would like to support us financially, you can always get a super thanks, super chat, super stickers, and don't forget to watch all the commercials. Or you can go to the description box. There are a couple of links there you can click on. Support us that way. Now, if you would like something tangible for your dollars, which a lot of people do, you can go to marlonmorale.com, hit our Shopify store. Both of those links are in the description box too. Or you can just simply hit our shop button below and check out all our luxury products. We had beard kits. We got fragrances that last all day. We got silk products, handbags, much more. Check it out. You would not be disappointed. And with that being said, I'll leave you in peace, and I'll see you on the other side.